Hi, this is Shannon Hennig, speech language therapist, and I wanted to share a little bit of my thoughts about the trade-offs and things that I have in mind when I'm thinking about where a child is learning language and communication. As we know, some kids are spending most of their day in what might be called full inclusion, the regular ed classroom, mainstream, and some children might be in what a substantially separate classroom. This could be a special unit, this might be a separate school, a special school. Neither one's better or worse. They're just different options on a continuum with different things that are pro and con. Some kids spend almost all their time in the full inclusion setting. Maybe they get pulled out into the hallway to do a little bit of one-on-one practice, or maybe they go to a teacher to get some small group instruction. Some kids spend a lot of their time here, but maybe they do a little bit of one-on-one or small group work with other kids. Maybe they go into the classroom for part of the day. And some kids might need to move between these settings throughout the day based on their emotional state. And the reason why we have a continuum, even though there's a challenge for language and communication learning, is when I think about the full inclusion setting, if I think about the content, full inclusion tends to have a very rich content of what's happening. Whereas if we're not careful, in a substantially separate classroom, this can get a little bit sterile. It can turn into busy work and worksheets, and we'll do this thing over and over and over again until you get a certain percentage of accuracy. Whereas when you think about the learning flexibility, this can be very fast-paced. The mainstream classroom, it can be loud, it can be chaotic, it can be unpredictable. There's 30 kids, whereas this can be a really optimal place because you can have one-on-one, you can go slower, you have more flexibility about the order and the way you teach. So for a lot of kids, we've taken them out of the mainstream classroom here because they learn better here. But what often happens is there's less to learn. So what we want to make sure is we optimize this, but we're bringing this richness in as much as possible so that they can really learn something worth learning, so it's motivating, and the idea is something that's fun, challenging. Lots of kids really love the feeling of mastering challenge, and that actually in and of itself is fun. But if it's boring, it doesn't work. On the same hand, when we do have these kids go back into this classroom, we need to see if we can bring some of this flexibility so they can be having that rich content and not being overwhelmed with this. So unfortunately, if this is the best learning environment and this is the best content, what we need to be trying to do is bring this content here and bring this